Hi everyone. I'm Gemma. For those of you that don't know me, so I'm one of the directors here at Feel the Magic Limited. We're coming into our third year of trade, which is amazing. Something that we've worked very very hard for. But a couple of things have started coming to light to us recently. With regards to sort of meeting other people, people giving this industry a go themselves. The wedding industry is just huge. It's a minefield. There's always new products, new developments coming its way. I think the expectations, not necessarily from brides and grooms, but expectations of guests are really high these days as well. And as always, if you can save a little book here or there, that's a great thing. So I hope you don't mind, and I don't want anyone to feel that I'm here to offend absolutely anybody by what I'm about to read to you. It's just something we kind of wanted to put into perspective, because I think it's really easy and there is a naivety there, and we did it. As soon as we went into this business, we keep saying we were so naive in the way that we went about it. We just want to make sure that people are kind of prepared for what's to come, what it's like to really run a business, the sacrificing. There's so many sacrifices you make when running your own business, but for us, there's an end goal. We have a plan. We've always had a 5-year plan. We've always had these expectations of, our wish list, our bucket list, if you want to say it like that, of where we want this business to go. And we're getting there. We really are getting there. There's a couple of things on the list where I'm like, wow, we're in year 3 and we're there. That's just incredible. So we want to just take a moment, and I hope you don't mind that I'm just going to read something out to you and put a few other ad-lib bits into it. I've really thought long and hard about what I've written here, and like I say, I'm desperately trying not to make it sound unsupportive or offensive to anybody in the slightest, because you know what, we're not the dream business, we're not the dream team. We are an aspiring family run business that give a lot of our time and energy to others rather than ourselves, knowing that one day hopefully all that time and effort will really pay off. And the nuts and gruts of it is we like working with people as well. So I'm just going to be looking at my screen, so I apologise if I'm not looking directly at you. So we wanted to take a moment to talk about running a business goals, and that the amount of time and effort that you put in is a direct reflection on the outcome and custom you receive. Remember Sir Alan Sugar? It didn't happen overnight, just in case you didn't know. In a market where competition is forever expanding and expectations are growing, the wedding industry is one of the biggest growing sectors out there, next to food retail, which is obviously always just on the go. You have to be 10 steps ahead and not just expect people to come and find you. You have to be there in front of them for them to see, and that's all day, every moment, every opportunity that you get. Now, don't get us wrong, we've had some fabulous support from local suppliers. Some of you, you know who you are. We've known you since school, mentioning no names. And if it wasn't for them, do you know what? We wouldn't be where we are. We really wouldn't. We've now, what we consider to have ourselves to have a bit of a reputable business. Not just amongst our customers, but amongst other suppliers as well. And you can't run a business. This industry doesn't work if you don't help each other out a little bit from time to time as well. But ultimately, it's down to your own self to put that effort in and put those strategies in place to kind of get what you want out of it. One thing I haven't done, and I've toed and froed about doing this, I can't remember how many times over the last 3 years in particular, and actually probably even longer than that. The wedding industry is something I've always wanted to get into. Probably longer than I actually realised myself, truthfully, in my own heart. I didn't realise how much I wanted to get into it. There was a time when the only thing I could see that I really wanted to do in the wedding business was to actually have my own bridal shop. I look at that now and I kind of think, yes, it's still an ambition. It would still be a nice to have, but it's not the driving force of where I want to be these days. And that's talking about me personally. This isn't talking about the rest of the team from Feel the Magic either. That's just my own personal outlook that I had at one point, and the kind of outlook that I'm having right now on where I want to be and what I want to do personally. Another thing, I never really got into wedding planning. I looked into, I can't tell you how many different courses, wedding planning courses I looked into. And I never went down that road of doing a qualification in wedding planning. Simply because I kind of looked at it and thought the number of venues and the kind of the number of weddings we'd been to over the years and parties and things like that, the number of wedding planners or ceremony planners or party planners, whatever you want to call it, that are already out there. And usually now these days, kind of when you've got a venue, that wedding planner kind of falls into it. Now, don't get me wrong, we have met some wedding planners along the way, and they're amazing. There's one lady that we work with. She does an absolutely fantastic job, and she's very lucky that she's got the reputation that she has to be able to grasp that clientele and to keep that side of her business going. But it's something that I kind of made that decision that I can't do everything. I can't be an octopus and have all these arms and be able to dip into loads of different parts of the wedding industry. So that's something I just chose never to do. But I would like to think that I've got a bit of an idea and a kind of vision, and that I might be able to help you along the way if you had some ideas, or at least know someone that can help you along the way. We've also slaved away for hours upon hours of our lives. We've had broken down barriers to get things done. We've had tears. We've had tantrums, from me usually. We've had discussions, some nice, some not so nice. We've missed out on social time as a family. We've missed out on events. We have to really kind of think sometimes whether we have to say, regretfully, we can't come. And that breaks our hearts. It really does. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Those of you who've known me, especially my bestest friends, know that sometimes you only need to look at me and I'll burst into tears. Because I absolutely hate upsetting people. And my friends are not just my friends, they're my family. They're probably people that I spend the most time with, when it's not my own two boys, so my husband and my little one. And that's hard, but this is kind of the sacrifices and choices we're making in the hope that things might start to change a little bit in the near future. We'll wait and see. We've had sleepless nights. We have sleepless nights. I didn't sleep last night. My Fitbits really told me off this morning for the absolute lack of sleep that I've had last night, because the little bit of sleep that I did get was completely disrupted sleep, dreaming. I think you'd laugh at the dream that I had last night. I kind of think the worst of the worst could happen, and it literally overtakes my whole mindset and the way that I function. But sometimes I kind of think, well, if you think the worst, maybe it won't happen and you're a bit more prepared for it. So you never know, do you? We're just entering our third year of trade. So if you didn't know, 3 years equates to 1,095 days, 26,280 hours, and 1,576,800 minutes of just utter passion and dedication for what we do. And if you didn't know, this isn't the only thing that we do. My husband has a full-time job, a very, very, very good job. He's amazing at what he does. He's very committed, very knowledgeable. He's been doing it for quite some time. He had to fight for his job and prove his worth a few years ago, and it's made him what he is today. He's very well renowned. He's good. He's good at what he does. And I know that. I work in the day, so believe it or not, I merchandise birthday cards. Ironic, I do wedding stationery, and yet I merchandise birthday cards and occasion cards and that kind of thing. But I love it. It's a good job. It's good fun. It works around school in particular. And you know what? It's our stability. Both of our jobs are our stability. It's what ensures us that our bills are paid. It makes sure that we're comfortable. It makes sure that we know that we've got a guaranteed wage coming in each month. We've been through redundancies. I was made redundant, coming up to 8 years ago now. Broke my heart. It was the most heart-wrenching thing I kind of went through, because it was a job that I absolutely loved and adored. But things happen for a reason. And I think it's kind of made me a bit more where I am today. I'm a bit more I am more conscious of and grateful for what I have rather than what I don't have. We saw very early on in our business, in order for us to make our plan work, and for us, and not just us, the business needs to take an income. We require our bills to be paid. It's funny because what's actually prompted this video, and I've got some quotes and some photos which I'll flash up on like Instagram and Facebook and things later. What's kind of prompted this is the fact that we've recently had quite a few other people get in touch and say, what is it you've done, or what is it that you do to get yourselves where you are? Because I think a lot of people, we're quite open, we're really open about, when we're out and about on the road, whether it be at a wedding fair or an event. You can even go on our Facebook appointments section, and you can even see if we're booked out or not. It won't give you the full details of who or venue or anything like that, but you can literally see whether we're available for your date or not. And I think if you were to look at that, especially for August, it's a minefield. It's amazing how we're going to do it. We kind of need to get sorted really soon, because it's a bit frightening. But if we didn't have our day jobs, this business wouldn't be running still. We'd have had to have sold up. I don't think you can go in and just open up a business and set something up thinking, this is what I'm going to do, this is going to be amazing, this is going to give me all the income I want, all the freedom I want, it's going to work around the kids, my family, la 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 la. I think there's a bit of naivety there, and that's where we were. We were there day one, absolutely. I had an amazing job actually in the finance sector at that point. Do I wish I'd have given it up? No. I wish I'd stayed a little bit longer. I really do. I wish I'd stayed there probably 6 months to a year. What that would have done is it allowed for me to get comfortable in my own financing personally, and then I could have worked more on the business. So in some ways you could say that our 5-year plan I probably could have got it done in 2 or 3 years if I'd stayed at my other job, but you can't have everything, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, as they say. Some of the things we've been asked recently by others, and this is whether they've got in touch with us or they've met us at wedding fairs or even events. We've even had people ask us at weddings of all places, and you kind of think, I'm trying to serve my customers here, I can barely hear you, but hey ho. So our most common question: if you're not available, will you recommend us to some of your customers? If we're not available, we will recommend as and where we can. But it's very rare and very few and far between. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's one date in August in particular where we've been asked if our magic mirror is available 5 times. We have one magic mirror, so we can only go out once. And we've turned away a lot of bookings, and I think that's partly because not only do we offer competitive pricing some days, but we've worked hard on our reputation for that. We know like a couple of other businesses who either have a magic mirror or a normal enclosed like photo booth. There's one company in particular I'm always sending customers their way. I've known them for many years before we even set up our wedding business, and I won't compromise our reputation or theirs for them, to be perfectly honest. So if we can't then we will help where we can. But I think you've got to remember, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't know what we've got going on in our business world behind closed doors, what plans we've got, if we're building anything in particular at the time. So I think sometimes it's really easy to go, right, I've opened up my business, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to contact Feel the Magic and go, right, if you're full of bookings, can you put them to us? It kind of doesn't work like that. You've got to build that relationship with us as well for us to trust you, because if we recommend you to a customer, that's on our backbone, on our own reputation, and it's vice versa. But there's a pretty good strong chance that if we haven't got it available, or we don't have that product or resource or whatever it is that you're looking for, there's a really good chance that we know someone that has. And there's certain individuals out there who know I'm always sending trade their way, always. There's a lady with a business who we're always sending Facebook messages to each other going, I've just recommended you to such and such, they'll be in touch, that kind of thing. We're always doing it. We both are registered suppliers at a couple of venues, which helps. But she's been doing this business for 20 years. I've been doing it for 3 minutes, or that's how it feels. So it takes a lot to get a lot back. But usually 98% of our trade, we've sourced ourselves. We've worked hard. We've put in a lot, and I really do mean a lot of money into kind of marketing, really. Those who are fed up of seeing us all over Facebook with marketing adverts and stuff, they cost us a lot of money. Whenever we're on eBay, I don't just put my eBay items on as a sale price. I've got a marketing cost in there. I put a marketing price on them, so that we're higher up in the listing. So if you were to Google, Rustic Invitations, we're a bit higher up as one of like the first items that you would see. And that costs us dearly. I could take a £200 order. I don't see a penny of it because I spent £200 on marketing just for that item. But it's a balancing act, what you do, what you don't do. So you kind of have to work it out for yourself a little bit. We have also learnt that our bestest friend for our business, besides our customers and each other, and some of you are going to laugh at it, our bestest friend is actually our accountant. That's a really scary thought, isn't it? In my head, I suppose when I was at school and college, and I did study business studies, not that I can remember much of it right this minute, but I always saw an accountant as they're there to take money off you, they're not going to make you any money, they're going to put you to HMRC, you're just going to have this massive tax bill. That's not what an accountant's for at all. I've got friends who do their own accounts, or they do their husband's accounts, or whatever it is, they work in their accounts for them. And that's great. If you've got the time and flexibility and the money to be able to do that, then that's absolutely great. But you know what? I tried doing our accounts in the initial instance. And I worked really, really hard on them. And then one day I looked and I was scared. I was absolutely petrified I'd made a mistake because something didn't look quite right. Turns out I'd done nothing wrong in the long story side of it. But it frightened me. And you know what? For the amount we pay for our accountant to do what they do, is the hours and the money that I then make back by getting more bookings or invitation orders, etc., etc. So for me, an accountant is absolutely worthwhile. They're actually kind of your protection, really. You're paying them to do a job. You're paying them because they're trained professionals in that area. They're actually there to save you money. Our accountant talks to us about things and we're like, really? We can put that through? And it's amazing. Because we're a limited company, we have to use an accountant to submit our tax, end of year tax anyway. And that's our protection barrier. It helps us. And for the sake of the fact that we have very, very few receipts in the grand scheme of things, the majority of ours is online invoicing, online purchases. So it's all just saved on a backup drive. I don't need to print it all off, because nowadays, as long as you've digitally got it or you've got it accessible, we don't need to have that as a piece of paper anymore. One day that may change, because the more money you earn, kind of the rules and what you have to do for your accounts change. But at the moment, we don't need to do that. So for me, it's really easy to kind of go, right, download everything as a CSV file, email it to my accountant. He just does it. It's amazing. You know, we go and see him a few times a year. We go and see him before we do the end of year tax submissions. We always go and see him. You know, there was an incident last year where we had an absolute barrel of laughs because something was on our accounts and not one of us could work out what it was, and then all of a sudden it was like this light bulb moment. And it can be good fun if you get the right accountant. We're lucky, we know you from school, you know who you are. But it helps us. It helps us, and it takes off such a weight off our shoulders, and it means that we can grow our business, not worry about where our business is currently at. We can grow it and move it further. Don't get me wrong, it's a really large bill in the grand scheme of things. It's, you know, it's a good chunk of money that we're paying out year on year. But you know what? He makes us more profitable than I ever would. So I think it's a no-brainer, really. There have been times where we've not taken a wage. There's some months where we don't take a wage at all. The wage that I do currently take, let's say, doesn't even pay for half, or probably pays about half of our monthly food bill, and that's for 3 people and a cat. So it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. And I still do that now. I don't take any more than that now. The main purpose of that is that I always want to know that I've got a contingency there. We had a spout sort of this time last year where I just managed to get on top of invite orders, and then I had this other mass amount kind of come in, and I had a major problem with our printer. So our printer is a bit of a beast. It's not your standard little printer that you put on the side and, you know, you just print off the odd bit here and there. It's a beast. It's huge. Takes up about a third of our office space in our tiny little box room of an office. For me to change just the image drums and ink, if I was to replace the whole thing, you're talking between £2,000 and £3,000. So when it goes, if it's going to go, the whole lot's going to go. And I need to know that that money's there, because one thing I would hate to do is turn away orders when somebody loves your item, when something you've worked so hard and put so much time and dedication into making a product what it is, and somebody likes it and wants to buy it off you. I would hate the thought that I can't commit that to them. So there's, and it's not just that, you've got to have a contingency for, you know, if a weird bill suddenly comes in, or you see something that you think, yes, that's going to work, that's going to take my business to the next level. You need to know that that money and that funding is there. And don't get me wrong, there's been times when, you know, I've gone, right, paid a little bit more to ourselves as a wage or whatever. And we've had some months that are much better than others. But in order for this to just keep moving forward, I think you have to be really sensible and really realistic. And like I say, it can't happen overnight. And I'm really in kind of the mindset that maybe this time next year, or fingers crossed, if my plan goes my way, I won't need to do my other job quite so much. I could probably cut back on it and put a bit more investment into the business, knowing that the business can pay me a bit more. But I think in the back of my head, there's loads I want to do with it. So the things like a van, having a full functioning office space that's almost a showroom at the same time, that's my other ambition. Now really, I'm probably looking at the end of my 5-year plan for that point. But you know, there's always going to be something in the middle. We're always buying things like new props, new accessories, marketing leaflets and business cards, paying invoices. Especially for our software that we use, because you've always got your monthly licensing fee for that kind of thing. And then there's the basics. There's things like fuel, your insurance, your car insurance, your public liability insurance, paper, envelopes, postage. And that's just the basics of running a general office. That's, you know, I've worked in finance, I've worked in admin, that's just the basics. That doesn't cover everything else, all the added extras that we do to make our business kind of where it needs to be, or be able to produce our products. There's not one day literally not one day where we don't have a bill go out. But that's the business, and as much as we really do feel like we're living to work at the moment, and we've probably felt like that a lot in the last 12 months especially. The feedback from our customers and the amount of fun we have when we're out on the road really does outweigh it all. Gosh, if you don't know that we went to the Ricoh Arena, we did the UK Midland National Wedding Show in January, the most fun we've had on this journey so far. It was insane. It was amazing. It's just incredible, to the point that I was probably the first one badgering Wayne, who runs it, saying, when's the next one, what's the date, how can I pay my deposit, where's my forms, because we'll go again next year. It was just absolutely fantastic. The one thing we always have at the front of our minds, it's never at the back, it's always at the front, is that what makes our business work is our customers. We are just there to initially provide the product, provide that service. If you've ever worked in retail, now I've worked in retail since I was 16. My husband's worked in retail or catering since he was 16. My in-laws have both worked in it. Between us, I couldn't tell you how many years retail experience we have. But there's a saying, especially if you work in a supermarket, there's a little saying, we're there to put baked beans on shelves. If you work in fashion, it's to put clothing on shelves, that kind of thing. And what it kind of means by that is that, let's take the analogy of buying a loaf of bread or a bottle of milk. People always need to buy bread and milk, always. How it gets there, how it's paid for, how it's then replenished, how the price is set, how the quality is tested, is everything else. The milk's the main bit in the middle of the circle, and around the circle you've got all these segments that make that milk what it is. And therefore, that by putting that milk on the shelf, you're providing a product and the opportunity to people to purchase something, make a sale, that's what then makes your business. And that's why we say we were there to put baked beans on shelves, because it sounds a bit funnier than putting milk on shelves. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're here to give a service, give a product, put that on the shelf for you to explore and to use. How it gets sold and the price and stuff is our responsibility. So for those on the outside world who are looking and think, gosh, I mean, probably some of our closest family and friends who think, gosh, you've had this business for 3 years and, this is how well you're doing. And they can see how well we're doing by how often we're out on the road. And how many times we're at wedding fairs, which aren't cheap. They're really not cheap. They're probably our biggest source of outgoings at the moment. We've spent a lot of money on them in the hope that we get a good return from them. If we take one booking from one wedding fair, we've kind of paid for ourselves, which is a blessing. But yeah, how we portray ourselves in particular is what makes our customers come to us. We had a bit of a competition when we were at the Ricoh Arena wedding fair as to who could walk away with the most on the day bookings. We took our Magic Mirror and our love letters, and we had a bit of a competition to see who could take the most bookings for our Magic Mirror photo booth. I didn't get involved because I ended up being so glued to Wedding Station talking to people about pieces of card and what you can have printed on them. It was ridiculous. But my husband walked away with 8 bookings on the day, and he thought he was the king. He thought it was amazing. But you know what? 8 bookings, and then I won't tell you how many bookings we had come in afterwards through email. It's a little bit crazy. It's a little bit strange that we're going to be this busy and that we've made such a success for the year ahead. But he thought he was the king, and you know what? Well done, babe. You did a great job. We met someone, and kind of going back a step to talking about how when people come to us and go, how do you do it? How do you get your business in? How do you find wedding fairs? How do you how do you get involved? How do you become a registered supplier? All that kind of thing. We met someone really recently who's bought, and I'm just going to say it, I wasn't going to. They've bought a Magic Mirror photo booth. they're not around by us. They actually cover an area just outside of kind of our coverage area, so it's not the side of kind of like the Midlands that we regularly go to either. So we're not bothered, because actually when we've turned away bookings like we have, you kind of need to find someone else anyway. But we bought our magic mirror. We spent thousands and thousands and thousands buying it brand new, buying all the props brand new, buying all the software brand new, the licensing, everything, all brand spanking new. And this person has bought a second-hand one, basically, and they were trying to find out from us, you know, how many bookings do you reckon I'll get, how much do you charge, I don't even know how to set it up, can you show me how to plug it in? Well, no, not really. And it sounds awful, but the reason we say no is because that's our pricing strategy, and obviously we're in a competitive market, and we do what's right for us and what works for us. You know, we're in a point where we can walk into a venue and set our magic mirror photo booth, props, everything within less than 20 minutes. And that's not me, that's the boys. The boys are so quick, so good at what they do. I couldn't do it. It's 70 kilos, I can't lift it, let alone set it up. So, but that's taken us over 2 years to get to that point of a 20-minute turnaround, and the fact that we can dismantle it within literally 20 minutes as well. There's some people out there, we've watched somebody set up, you know, the enclosed photo booth, an hour and 40 minutes it took them, and my heart was just breaking for them, because I was just thinking, gosh, you're really overtaking the whole venue with your equipment everywhere and what you're having to do. And don't get me wrong, she was just starting out, but you kind of think, like, you have to get yourself to a point to feel comfortable to walk into a venue and look professional and look like you know what you're doing. And it's not just the venue that are watching you, it's your customers. Someone's paid for you to attend that venue. And I think sometimes there's this massive naive aspect of looking at someone and thinking, gosh, they must be making a fortune, look at all these bookings that they've got, look at all this equipment they've got, look at how much they've spent on all this and how they're marketing themselves and stuff. And we're not great at marketing. I just do the absolute basics of what I know I can do. And I spend loads of time at the moment looking at YouTube videos on, you know, how I could make my invites different, what other marketing techniques I could use, what other new products are out there. I spent hours and hours and hours looking at them. I haven't made a decision on any of them yet, but it kind of helps me along the way. And I just think people need to be really realistic with themselves. So we spent thousands so that we knew that our licence was covered year in, year out. We've got a support helpline. All we do is pick up the phone and ring them. We might have to pay a small fee for them to dial in through the Wi-Fi and help us. But our photo booth is completely registered with them. We can update our software and get new marketing materials and new images and layouts as much as we like. There's absolutely loads that we can do, and it's silly things for us like our paper, our ribbon, our red carpet. There's loads that we can do, and we can just go to them and we can get it. But we've invested that money and time into that. And when I think other people come along and think, oh yeah, I see you guys, you go out for a few hours of a night and you use a magic mirror and you know you create a guest book and you have loads of fun and what have you, that's just us providing that service at that moment in time. The background and everything behind it, people don't see. And I just encourage anyone to be really, really careful in this world. The scammers out there, we've been scammed. We were scammed last year. I've even took it through Action Fraud, through the police. And I've got nowhere at the moment. It's something I'm still looking into. And it's made me very wary, very, very wary. And I'm very untrusting as a result of other people. So we'll just have to say hello, John. There's John. Say hello.
Hello.
So when we do have people like that come up to us and kind of go, you know, can you help me? I'll help where I can, but I'm not going to do it for you. No one's done it for us. And that probably sounds very, very selfish, but I'm not being selfish. You can't if just because we've shown you once doesn't mean that you've learned. And there's a massive learning aspect in this. There's a massive learning and development aspect in this, in any work. You know, even if you went and had a job somewhere, you would be constantly having training and refreshing, and things change. And you need to be able to go and prove to your customer that you can do it on your own. So I think the last kind of thing we really wanted to say was, if you're setting up a business, just remember, we've all started somewhere. We're all here to try and make a living. That's the end goal for us, isn't it? I'm here to make a living. If you can make someone happy along the way, it makes making a living a bit more worthwhile. But people aren't going to do it for you. Others are not going to do it for you. There's a support element in it. You know, I've now recently signed up to a local support network for the wedding industry, which looks really good actually. I'm quite looking forward to maybe attending to the odd like meeting or seminar for it. But you've got to put the time and effort in, and one day it will start to pay off. But you've got to realise that there are some compromises along the way. Chances are I'll have another tantrum some point soon, because that's what I do. But I have a tantrum and I get upset because I care and because I want to make this even bigger and better. It's not going to happen overnight. Like I say, 3 years down the line, we've done really well for where we are. The friend that I was talking about earlier, who's been doing it for 10 years, that's 10 solid, 10, 20 plus solid years of her life and dedication and commitment she's put into it. Hats off to you. I hope you know who I'm talking about. As we said, we're in our 3rd year of trade. We're still working through our 5-year plan. And hopefully that this one day will become our only income. But you know what? It's so doable. And I think next year, when we're in year 4 and we've got 12 months of our 5-year plan left, we'll be starting to write our next 5-year plan. But hopefully I haven't bored you to death. Hopefully I've been really realistic. I've put something into perspective, maybe. I don't know. I don't know whether you're interested in what I've said at all or not. I'm not offended if you haven't. I've done it probably in a selfish way because I felt I needed to, because like I say, the number of people that have been asking me lately, how do you do this, how do you do this, can you recommend us, blah 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 blah. I'm probably listening to that more than I'm listening to my own customers sometimes. But anyway, I hope you all have a fantastic day. I've just seen some invoices and some paperwork come through that I sent off earlier today to some customers. By the way, invoicing and paperwork, sending out hire agreements and booking forms and insurances is the bane of my life. It takes up probably the most of my time, really. So if you ever think I'm just sitting at a computer screen, because it doesn't take long. It takes a little while to do, to be honest. But anyway, all of you have a lovely afternoon. Please, if I can help, if you want to come and talk to me, I am here. If I don't answer, I'm not being arrogant, I'm not being selfish. I'm trying to protect us a little bit as well, based on past experiences. But I do wish you all the best of luck. If anybody's looking for anything in particular, whether it be, I don't know, a bridal dress, a dance floor, anything, ask me. If we don't offer it, or if we're not available to offer it, you want to see, I've got this lovely little pile of like business cards and leaflets over to the right of me here. And they're all local suppliers. So I might know someone that can help you. So please never be afraid to ask, because I probably do know somebody. If I don't, I don't. It's not the end of the world. I can't work my magic and wave my magic wand and do everything for everybody, I'm afraid. So, but all the best to everybody. Take care, and I look forward to seeing all our future customers throughout the year. August is going to be